move you over to the other screen so you can see, and it's going to give you that infinity depth of window here in just a second, but I'll show you what I mean. Okay. And I'm going to show up here down below, and in about 15 seconds, I'm going to show up there in that big window up top. So what this allows me to do is actually hang out here with you on Blab for a moment and broadcast out the signal that I'm pumping out to 5 other places at once on one computer. Mind you, I'm running an AMD 6-core processor with about 12 gig of RAM. I have software mixing. I'm not using a hardware mixer, and I have no other hard mix equipment. And actually what you can see is, there you go. All right, let me. Okay, now I closed that because otherwise I wouldn't be able to talk, and you're just going to hear everything I just said. That will continue to broadcast. Everything I say and do here is being broadcast live on 5 different platforms. Now, I could step out of the seat, and I could hang out with you guys. Excuse me, I had an air bubble in my chest. And by doing so, I could have closed my window, and we could try that if you want. But the problem is, and this is what Marty and Steven deal with all the time, is there's a lag that follows behind. So anything you put in the chat and say in the chat, I'll see when you say it, but you won't hear a response from me for close to 30 seconds later. And it's inherent of the old days of the Hangouts on air. It's just something that's always been around. They're working on that, and hopefully in the nearest future, with higher speed fiber optics, with the fact that we're looking into NDI, which is the network distribution interface, we're going to have a lot more options available to us. And what that's going to allow us to do is have high speed connections from one end of the country to the other. We're going to be able to produce these kinds of shows much quicker. And we're hoping that when Google's interface comes out, Barbara, could you tell me one more time? I forget what the name, and welcome, by the way. Thanks for stopping by. What the name of Google's new live streaming platform is going to be. I tried Googling Google's platform, and it didn't even show up on the front page. Connect. Thank you very much. Google Connect is going to be the latest and greatest version of Google's attempt to gain foothold in the live streaming market. So what we're hoping to discover in that process is that Google's going to allow us that minimal lag time that we're experiencing out on YouTube Live because of the production of the video. The processing that takes place behind the scenes in YouTube Live as you're broadcasting to their stream or to their URL feeds out there, their servers, thank you, had to get that word out. There is a processing that goes on where it's developing a 360 resolution, a 480 resolution, a 720 resolution, a 1080 resolution, and a 4K resolution. So in order to, and only if you're broadcasting in 4K, obviously, but that's what keeps the lag on YouTube Live. And that's why we're all having a little bit of issue with the way we want to use it, but because of that lag, we're avoiding it in some cases. Thank you, Barbara. I'm going to take a look at that today for sure, because, and is that going to go live anytime soon? Has there been a date set that you're aware of? I'm just curious, because that's something that I'm really looking forward to, and with hopes that it will get rid of mid-May. Oh, that would be cool. If that curbs the lag, then you'll see a lot more use of that over YouTube Live. Though I think a lot of the YouTubers who require that platform and use it regularly for what they do, because there are certain features with YouTube Live that might not be available with Google's Connect, we may find other ways to do that. So looking forward to it. But you saw what I was able to do with one machine. And again, I'm still broadcasting. And the one thing I'm not doing that I should be, now I'm recording here on Blab currently. And if I head back over to my browser over there, and I'll just show you while I'm doing it so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I'll flip back over here real quick. I can go right up. Now. So it's not a simple thing when you're running even a 6-core processor and 12 gig of RAM to be able to produce this much video at one time, even though I'm only streaming out on one feed, because I would certainly never be able to do Ustream and YouTube and Dailymotion and StreamUp and Blab all at the same time on one computer, trying to pump that out into 5 different streams from my machine, which I could do if I wanted to, but I don't have the bandwidth here. My machine is incapable, well, I shouldn't say my machine, my IP, my internet provider, I get 60 meg down, but I only get 4 meg up, which limits me. I could barely broadcast one signal at 1080p. So that keeps me from being able to do much higher than 720p. And I might be able to do, 2 feeds out at 720 because that only requires about 2 meg up. And that's about as high as I'd be able to go. So using this software and the restream.io website, I'm able to broadcast one signal out and distribute it through several channels at once. It's playing live right now at Dailymotion and all the others. So, and I probably have to get together with Restream.io just also came out with a new chat app, which will be kind of interesting. And I'll show you that. I'll give you that link real quick because it is separate from. Actually, it should be popping up as a really small text on their main screen when you go in. Yeah, it's at the top when you log in. It is Restream.io /chat. And this is a multi-stream chat feature that Restream just came out with. Allows any streams that you're feeding to through Restream.io to be able to follow up on. And I could probably run it real quick so you can see it. Well, that page alone gives you an example of what it looks like. I do have the app here running, but I haven't tried it out yet. So I'm looking forward to being able to play with that in the nearest future also. Let me see if I can. Here's the Restream chat app. I'll show you what it looks like if it fires up as well as it should. It is a click-through browser also, which is kind of cool, or a click-through window. Let me get this down here so you can see it. I'm going to move my sources around a little bit. Bear with me just a second. Okay, so the chat app. go over to YouTube Live. I could hang out in the chat window on YouTube Live, which is over there. It's running, and there is a live chat going on over there while we're speaking. There's nobody there right now because this is just a kind of on the spur of the moment live feed through YouTube. But there's also a chat over at Daily Motion, and there's a chat over at StreamUp. But I think I don't know that Ustream. I do have a chat feature over at Ustream too. So, and to try and handle all those in the background and bounce site to site. You'd have to turn off all the audio on all those sites, lock the video out so that you're not re-looping back into your other broadcasts. And it gets a little hairy. It gets crazy trying to run all those tabs on one computer. Now, if I had several computers running each of those platforms individually, it'd be even worse. And if you've ever seen Steven's lab, you might call it, where he has to actually get up at times and go to other machines and other equipment to do certain things like accept Skype callers and restream out his audio to other places. So I'm trying to keep this as one-man band as I possibly can, which would mean a couple of monitors, maybe one or two more in the future, maybe one other computer sitting next to me to take on incoming Skype calls. But right now I actually have it set up pretty well where I tested from my laptop back here in the back. I used a separate Skype account and I called in through Skype in here so that I could use my split window through the software that I have, and I would be able to take a caller on the other side. Now this there that are doing it have done in the past. Obviously, with NDI coming out, there's going to be a lot more available to us as broadcasters. We'll be able to share streams from other broadcasters, and that's really going to be incredible. Telstream, the makers of the software that I'm using, which is called Wirecast, are the ones that are going to be kind of behind a lot of this in the near future. Let me head over there real quick and I'll try. I know I saved a link to the site where you can, at current times. Oh, and I have a question for you too, Barb, about that. I've got the face rig in the background. Do you need a certain kind of Intel camera to be able to do that? Because that was something I was looking into the other day. It looks like you have to have an Intel RealSense depth camera to play around with that type of stuff. Is that true? All right, let me get back over to you here. Oh, it did come in muted. That's interesting. Oh, you know what it was? Is because maybe I did have it muted. That's a good question. You know what? I'm kind of curious as to why it did that. I'll have to look into that. That's different. Thanks for noticing that, because it was, oh, if I mute it, it's muted for everyone. But I didn't mute it. That was the thing. It came in silent when I played it. I want to do something real quick. Let me just try that one more time. I want to see if it's still muted. Maybe, yeah, I don't have it muted. Now it's playing. Okay, that's weird. That's weird. I really don't know what's going on there. So, yeah, and I heard it too that time, but I didn't the last time I dropped that link. So I'm kind of curious what happened there. Could be, Deborah. I think that it very well could be. So I was heading over to Telstream, and what I was looking to show you guys, I think if you type Telstream and NDI both in the Google chat, you'll get a little bit of, yeah, here we go. Oh, no, that's a forum post. I'm looking to find their information, and I saved a link, I thought, anyway. I'm going to do it from here. NDI is what we were, Steven had a blab for it just the other day, and I may not be able to find it on their website. I'm going to probably recommend their site instead. And that way you guys can watch it yourself. If you go to the techbuzz.net, there was I believe it was a broadcast now. Yes, it was. I have a link right here. And I would prefer, this is an hour-long blab or more, so I recommend you guys watch this on your own when you have a chance. So save this. This is very important. This is the type of information you're going to want to know moving forward, because honestly, this is going to be the game changer when it comes to doing video broadcasts online. NDI is a process that's going to allow us to share hardware devices through IP connections. So if you're in California and you're running a video stream through an IP source, through a web browser, you can share your IP number with me, and I can connect through my software and broadcast your stream through my end into whatever platform I want to broadcast it to. It'll be nearly instantaneous because of the way the system's developed. NDI has been around for a long time. It's something that the broadcasting community, the high-end networks, have been using for quite some time, where you can literally have, and when you get into a production environment like that and you have program directors running the show, you have a graphics department, you have people doing lower thirds, you have people doing replays, you have people doing commercials. Everybody's working succinctly on the same show, but not necessarily in the same room or even in the same state. So you'll find a lot of that stuff takes place. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen vMix's demo on that, Walter, so if you've got a link for that, I'd be happy to take a look at it. But it is something that's moving forward very quickly, and there's a lot of the developers for broadcasting software that are getting behind the ball on this also. So what you're going to find in the near future is we'll be able to share data. We'll be able to connect digitally. We won't need so much of the analog equipment anymore, which is one of the biggest things that this is going to cause moving forward, and not having to dish out all that extra money to have splitters and switchers and analog to digital converters and HDMI equipment and things like that, because, well, a lot of it's going to have to do with the SMDI equipment that's out there, where you're actually broadcasting with the digital cameras connected through hardwire AV into HDMI and being converted. A lot of that stuff is probably going to change. You're going to find cameras that are connected with a Cat5 cable from now on, where you're just going to be able to plug one cable into all your different equipment. You're not going to have to deal with snap-in cables and XML mics and all that. It's going to be USB and it's going to be Cat5. So look for that and keep your eyes on NDI. There is some software out there you can download. It's all open source, and that's where, thank you very much, Walter. So if y'all want to take a look at the demo that vMix did of what NDI is capable of, make sure you check it out. And here's one of those guys that, Marty, welcome to the show. I was just kind of getting toward the end of things here. We got booted. Everything got shut down on me over here at Blab, but I was still broadcasting, Doctor. So I was having fun. I was showing these folks. I was just dropping something in here. Yeah, that's fine, Marty. If you knew how many times people misspell my name, it's just crazy. So, and I have been looking into that. I haven't gotten an email back yet, Marty, from the folks over at Restream, but I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, NDI Beauty is going to be a big thing. And like I said, follow that Blab that just came up. Well, thank you, sir. I have a new mic. If you can't see it down here, it's kind of hidden because I'm still waiting on my mic stand. I'm waiting for my shock mount. If you saw what was holding this thing together right now, you'd laugh. I had a mic holder that I went to kind of expand a little bit, and it popped, and it snapped both sides open perfectly, which was cool. So I was able to throw a little stick glue in there with the heat gun, and fortunately, you can't see the rubber bands that are holding this thing up onto the mic stand right now. But I got a great deal on an MXL USB 06, which is a little bit older mic, but it's an open condenser mic. It's a large-bodied mic. It normally goes for about 120 bucks, and I got it for $40 on eBay through what looked to be probably a pawn shop that had the mic in its possession and decided to sell it. So I caught it at the right time. It just came out on eBay that day, and I said, you know what, I want it. I made an offer under what they were asking, and he took it, and he shipped it out right away. So I love the mic. It's working out really well for me so far. But it also helped me to dump this beast. I got rid of the analog mixer that I've been using with my old karaoke mics, which was causing me a lot of sound issues. And now I'm simply using the software mixer through Voicemeeter on the computer with the USB mic, and it avoids one more step of processing complications that I could run into, which would be the analog to digital conversion. So now everything that I do is strictly, all of the digital sound is being performed and remanipulated within the mic itself and broadcast digitally through the USB cable into the machine. And now from here, I can worry about nothing but digital processing going forward. So that's what I'm looking to do. That's where I'm going to try to. Yeah, I am, Deborah. I'm trying to keep it simple. I don't want to really build out a huge studio. I just want to be able to broadcast in the least and most in the least amount of bulk and the most economical way I can find, because my budget is limited when it comes to hardware. So I'm going to try and keep it that way and just make it simple. KISS, as they say, correct? Well, thank you, Barbara. Another one. So that's 2 links I have to save. Now let me get to a couple of these. All right. I want to make sure I get these before I miss out on them. So pausing for 1 second. But I'm about to wrap it up here in a second, folks, anyway. I just want to get these tabs opened up before I lose them. Well, thank you, Walter. I appreciate that compliment. Oh, what was that? You just picked on the Voicemeeter Orange. Thanks, Barbara. I appreciate it. That is the software I was just demonstrating a little bit ago. And I haven't even touched upon, they are now currently building out a lot of plugins for that software. The web pages are not open yet, but let me just give you an idea of where Voicemeeter is going with that. I'm just going to share with you real quick on the web page that Barbara just. Going. And it's worked out really well. I am going to go off the record for sure. I would like to see how well your avatar tracks. So it is quarter after the hour and well past the time I want to do a lot for the recording, but we did break down mid-session and everything went down. It actually shut down my recording on me also. Everybody got booted off of Blab, as you probably were aware of. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by. This is The Nothing Show with Leland Best, your host today and probably always. Let's just call it a wrap, shall we? I'll see you on the other side. Take care, everybody. I'll be right back after the recording ends. Okay. We are done. Let me get back in the window here. So if anyone would like to hop in, here comes Barb. Come on in. I can't wait to see. Is it going to be a teddy bear? Is it going to be... I don't know what it's going to be. It's a... Look at it. It's a fox. I love it. That is so cool. I love it. Where's Walter? We got to get Walter in here too. We could have a party with you. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Now, is that through the software itself, or do you have to pump it in through the software and another overlay to get the virtual camera? Does it have it? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, that's cool. So it's a oh, that's right. I did see that virtual camera show up in my drop downs. So because I now you did you have to buy the Intel camera to do this? Really? You just okay. And Vicky, yeah, I noticed that also. I thanks for making a mention of that. There's been a glitch on my profile for the last few days. I've asked them to correct that. It still shows a live broadcast from a week ago, my last week's show actually, that has not finished. It rendered because I got the file and I've already uploaded it to YouTube. But for some reason, when you click on my profile live, it goes to the old show and it just sits there as though it's trying to finish something. And there's the Tech Buzz. Mr. Steven, how are you today? So you just bought the software then, right? For what, $15 to do the? Oh, okay. That's like $70, I think, for that one. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I looked at it and I downloaded the software for the IR version and thinking that maybe it was like a lower version that was free. But then when I went to fire it up, it said I didn't have the proper hardware. So I think the one I downloaded was specifically for the Intel cameras and only works with that interface manager that you can use with the Intel 200, 300, or 100, 200, and 300 series face recognition cameras or something that they call them. Yeah, I don't even know where you're supposed to find those, but because I looked them up. And for all you out there, go ahead, Barb. Right? I know, but that's the thing. I couldn't get it to run. So what are you doing besides? Well, you paid for the software, so that allows any camera that you want to use, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be cool, right? Yeah, his is pretty freaky actually. He's got that. Oh yeah, yeah. I can imagine they hit it off pretty well. I love the idea because I play with animation myself a lot. You guys have seen some of this stuff. I can give a quick example. I'll go head out to YouTube real quick on my channel and I'll just pull up a video that I created. It's nothing major. I'll just play a short spurt of it so that you guys can get an idea of what I play around with a little bit. I got to get to my playlists. I work in a program called Movie Zoo. I did one for Chris Cuberness. Sorry for the volume there. If you haven't seen it, I took a video that he produced one day and I stripped the audio off of it. And I went ahead and I built a cartoon underneath of it and used his voiceover as the production. So this is what I created myself. And that was just a clip out of one of his main videos that was much longer than that. And I just, yeah. And it's very interesting because they just included the 360 camera feature in that software. And if you guys are into anything like that or want to try it out, it's built on the Unreal Engine, which was what a lot of the first person shooter software was built on years ago. They've since come out with Unreal 4, which is a much more elaborate 3D version of that engine. But this allows you to go in and create everything. It has cameras, lighting, backgrounds, green screen, anything you could imagine, including virtual sets that you can create. And the voiceover is created with an MP3 file that you bring into the production, and all of the animation that you see on the mouth is done automatically in the software, and similar to what Barb's doing there in her avatar. But all of the hand features and the head turning and the eye blinking and the eyeballs and the head tilt, all that was done manually by me inside the software, along with all the camera takes and the back and forth. But you could be doing zooming. The characters can walk across the screen. They can move. They can dance. They can do all kinds of other things that are just off the charts. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah, Barb turned into a fox the other day, Alfredo. Sorry if it's a software program. I can give you a link if Barbara doesn't have it there. I just had it out. It's a site that's available called FaceRig. So if you want to go check it out, it's facerig.com. It's used primarily out on Steam. Yes, you can go get it out on Steam, or you can download it directly from the website. Yes. Oh, really? Okay. That's cool. My son's a huge steamer. If you've ever seen gotcha. Yeah. Mhm. Oh yeah, you're in Second Life, correct? And that's a lot of fun. I'm sure I got into that one time just to see what it was like, but I was more of the fantasy poking around playing with the MMORPGs and had a lot of fun with those. But my son's a computer programmer and he's out on Steam. He probably owns 3,000 games on Steam, and he's one of their biggest reviewers. If you've ever seen him out there, I always forget what his handle is out there for some reason, so I gotta go find him out here real quick. If you ever see my son, you'll find him out there. He goes by the handle Zorf, XORPH 64. I'll put that in the chat for you because I know you guys are out there quite a bit. Oh no. Oh, okay, I got you. Mm-hmm. Oh really? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whoa. I'll be darned. I would have never guessed you to be a boxer short developer. That's hilarious. I love it. I love it. And no, we're fine. Well, yeah, we need a little bit more than that. Let's figure maybe about that would be good. Somewhere in there. Or we could measure that in rope length, I suppose, and see how long. Either way you want to go, but no. I just wanted to answer a question that I've been sitting out here. I don't mean to change the subject on you really quick, Barb, but Jerry had asked a second ago. Kevin, I'm going to give me a minute. I'll let you in just a second. Hold tight. I wanted to answer Jerry's question because it's been sitting over there on the sidebar for a while. He's asking, so for us novices that are starting from scratch, what's the total investment we will need to make a start in broadcasting? Really depends on how deep you want to get. Start out small. It doesn't take a lot of investment. If you've got a computer, minimum of a 4-core processor, I recommend Intel nowadays after what I've had to deal with the AMD system trying to do video broadcasting. Even though I have a 6-core processor, I really wish I had an i7 6th generation Intel because that would make all the difference in the world if you can afford that type of platform. So look at around $500 to $1,000 for a really nice machine if you want something that will hold up to the pressures that it's going to deal with. Obviously, you're going to want some good high-end video, 2 gig of memory or 4 gig if you can, and at least a minimum of 8 gig of memory on the machine, maybe 12, 16 at the most is what you'll ever require. SSD hard drive for sure, because the processing speed on creating when you're actually taking your B-rolls, if you wanted to, and start producing and doing some editing after the fact, you want something that can process really quickly. Video editing or audio editing software, you can get Audacity for free. Video editing software can be cheap, under $100. And then when it comes to the sound mixer, you saw the virtual mixer I use. That's free. It's donationware. A few bucks to the developer would satisfy their desires. And then it's really these headphones, maybe $10. I've had these Sony headphones for probably 15 years now, and they're still doing great. The mic I have down here is a full bore or a full size barreled condenser microphone. It's a cardioid mic that I paid $45 for. They normally go for $100, but MXL just came out with some USB mics that run about $70 brand new. They're a little smaller cylinder, but all of that processing of the mic gets done in the mic itself as digital signal through USB, so you don't have to deal with an XML connector like you'd find on a typical mixing board like this, where this one's analog only. I would have to feed this into the mic jack of my computer. They do make this exact same Xenix 802 board in a USB model that would allow you to connect that digitally. That way your signal that comes in analog would be processed on the board and sent back into the computer as a digital signal. So you want to get as digital as you can right now. At least that's my belief. I know Steven and Marty, you guys are still using a lot of analog equipment over where you're at and converting. I understand why you do it, because you're pros at what you do. You love your equipment. You've been using it for a long time, and that's what you like to use. And that's absolutely the way a lot of the folks are still doing it. Yeah, exactly. You've been doing it for many years, and that's the equipment they know and love. So I would never knock anybody for going for doing the analog to digital conversion, because it's kind of nice sometimes to be able to play with knobs and whistles and buttons. I think, where you can actually dial it in and play around a little bit. But once you dial it in, you really don't need to touch much of this stuff. There's really not much to play with on the settings after the fact. So I like to go digital. I like the software driven stuff. It works for me. And that's really it as far as cables, add-ons, couple of small monitors. I'm using two 22-inch or 21-inch monitors over here. A little bit of lighting. Go with the outdoor LED lights that you can find at Home Depot nowadays. Works for me, but you could go cowboy out and go to Cowboy Studios and get a full-blown set of studio equipment for about $60. Green screens are a little expensive unless you want to go to Home Depot. I have a video. Barb, did you take a look at that video? It's something I'm going to share with you guys real quick. If you look on YouTube, there's a Chroma Key Home Depot video. It's 1 minute long. Actually, I'll play it real quick. This will be the easiest way to do it. Yeah. Did you see that? Yeah, there's a color that you can have mixed up at Home Depot that works. Oh, that might be the wrong one. This is a different. If For some reason, that video is not showing up right now. Oh, here it is. Okay. If you were to order chroma key paint online, you could pay up to $200 a gallon. I've seen it, and it's ridiculous. Don't ever pay that kind of money for chroma key paint. This is a short video. We're going to play it real quick, and then I'm going to let Kevin in if he wants to come back into the room. So, Kevin, if you're still here, this is a video that shows how you can get the right color at Home Depot. It should be playing in just a second here if the feature's still working, right? It's just kind of rolling right now. Hello? Not really. And it could be because my Blab broke. Oh, here we go. Okay, it's about a minute long. There we go. Oh, per quart. Wow. Pause the video here if you want to take a snap of your screen. You can get the color code. Or there's the link. Sparkling apple. I'll give him a thumbs up for that. For sure. So the link to the video I just put in the chat if you guys are interested in developing your own green screen wall. Obviously, that's what that would be used for. Or if you did similar to what Barbara has, that screen. What do you call those screens, Barbara? The Japanese folding screens? Soji? Oh, okay. Well, that's fair then. That would work out too. Okay. Well, I love your avatar. That is like the coolest thing yet. Yeah, I missed the show. I apologize. Walter, Steven, Marty. I really wanted to. I was out burning some refuse out in the backyard, and by the time I was done, I was a little out of it. I wasn't feeling like getting on the computer, so I stayed on the couch last night, and I will catch the replay, though. I watch you guys on my Roku, man. I get out on TTB. Marty, are you on Roku yet? I'm just curious. I don't know if Marty's still. Yeah, Marty's still here. Yeah, I heard it was about Community. Oh, you know what? No, I tried to watch that. The recording was shut down because those hackers came in and ripped it apart. So I will have to wait and see the Tech Buzz version of that online when he uploads it to Roku, because I couldn't watch it on Blab. Obviously, they got pretty deep in that hack too. I was pretty surprised where that went. You sure can. Yeah, go ahead. Yep. Yep. Oh, is it? Mm-hmm. Wow. Really? I haven't caught on. Well, I know for a long time, hitting the viewers in the room next to the eyeball icon up above, you would always see the host as not followed. And it was something, even though you followed him 10 or 20 times, it kept showing as not followed. The thing I saw last night kind of disturbed me, though, because there was a lot of evidence that there has been some serious hacking getting into the system going on. I saw somebody popping in Blab last night with Alfonso and Joel and Amy and who else was in there? Brian Fanzo last night, the Blab they were doing. there was some serious stuff going on. There were people coming in under Joel Comm's name with different video and some other things that looked, there were sounds of voices coming in through the Blab that were not in a window seat. And there were not people just off to the side. Everybody in the windows was saying, where's that sound coming from? Where's that voice coming from? Who's talking? This is like God saying something to us. That's scary stuff, folks. That's like who's listening in, who's watching, and who has control of other features. So I think there are some issues there, and we got to be careful. No. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yep, I agree, and I think that's what they're doing. It's not. Oh yeah, Furquan says it's not Blab, and what it is like you mentioned, Barbara, very well, that someone is accessing the video feeds and the audio feeds, and they're trapping whatever's coming out and putting their own versions on top. So that's what I'm seeing anyway. That's the evidence I've witnessed. As to whether Blab has a handle on it or control over it and has shut it down. It's kind of similar to the issue with the GIFs. The reason wasn't that they closed GIFs because it was bothering those with epilepsy. The reason they closed the GIFs is because hackers found a way in through the system through those drop-ins in the chat. So that was why they broke that. And even then, that's something I just wanted to mention that. I just found this out today from Kevin, who was trying to get in just a second ago. And Kevin, feel free to jump back in. I wasn't trying to ignore you. I was just trying to give some folks some time here real quick. For those who do suffer from epilepsy, the GIFs that are dropped into the drop-ins and used to go into the chat affect them very seriously. And I didn't realize that until today. So I used to use like that tweeted out Giphy and the posted on Facebook Giphy, and what I've discovered from some people who have epilepsy is they've had to put their hand up in front of the screen when those GIFs come on because they're repetitive, and repetitive things like that can cause them to go into a seizure. So please, for any of you out there who might not have thought about that principle of repetitive graphics being spewed into someone's eyes, keep that in mind in the future and try not to use those types of Giphies inside of a Blab for those who might be affected by it, because there are a lot of folks out here who are affected by epilepsy. It's possible. I don't know. And that's a possibility, Barb. I don't know, but it's not a repetitive, consistent motion. But it's something to look into, I guess, and see. I really wouldn't know. All right. Yes. Oh my God. No. He was in here earlier. Yes, he is. He does. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. No, and he was. Yeah, Kevin sat in here on this show while we were recording earlier for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. He was at school, but he has like a day pass toward the end of his day. And that guy, out of anyone, he was one of the first kids I met out here on Blab months ago. And I knew right away that he was dealing with, his disability, which is just he has a visual impairment. And one of the features that is lacking now on Blab, and I hope all of you put a word in to support to get this feature back. If you type the word /light, we used to be able to get a white screen with black text in the chat. If you type it now, it just shows up in the chat like Alfredo just did. And the reason for that is they've disabled that feature. Well, the reason that feature is so important to the visually disabled is because they have text readers that are used on their computers and on their cell phones with applications that allow them to hear the text that's going up through the chat. It's read to them with a computer voice. And without the proper contrast of white background with black text, their apps aren't working correctly anymore. So send an email to support@blab.im and let them know what you feel about that, and tell them they need to bring that back to Blab so that our visually impaired friends out here can be able to read the chat or at least hear the chat that's going on while the video's playing. All right, well, that's about all I've got for today, Barbara. I've got other things I certainly got to get back to, and I got to eat lunch. I'm starving. I haven't eaten anything all morning, so my tummy's rumbling, but I'm going to try to keep this Wednesday 11 a.m., but I may change my time spot, folks, because of the fact that I'm going to start live streaming and doing similar to what Marty and Steven are doing on several platforms at once. I will still have the interaction in here in one fashion or another, but hopefully next week I'm going to have Jamie Orr. If you haven't seen the video out there of her getting on WDTE for the first time out here at Detroit Radio with her new video, let me get a quick link to you guys. I'm hoping to have her as a guest. I've been dealing with her in text chat. It's JAYMEORR. She has a new single out called I'm going to give you just one link so that you can find it out there. It's one of the cutest videos you'll ever see. She's in her car on her cell phone. I shared it on the BTS Live group the other day. So go check her out. Jamie Orr is a local Detroit. She's from the Novi area, and we used to hang down that way with our daughter. She used to live in Farmington. So she's got a single coming out now called Love is a War, and she has a EP album coming out April 30th. It's a great singer, and I'm hoping to have her on my show next week. So looking forward to getting her out here. All right. That's all. Well, thank you. And I'm looking to do a full-blown tutorial. Yeah, I want to expand on that a little bit because I kind of rushed through it today. It wasn't a planned process. I just went with it because people asked. So I plan to put together a big tutorial on how to use the software mixer and generate that as a full-blown sit-and-watch kind of blab, similar to what Marty did the other day on BTS Live. So going to be putting that together real soon. All right, guys. You guys have a great day. We'll see you in one of those other blabs out there, maybe the town hall tonight at 7 p.m. If you don't have a link, just go look for it in the upcomings on the Blab homepage. It should be at the bottom of the page. So we'll see you there. Take care, everybody. It's been a great time. This is Leland Best of The Nothing Show. We're out of here. See ya.